not be achieving maximum results if you're only thinking the customers are going to buy ancillary revenue when they're in the booking flow or on the confirmation page or maybe when they receive their confirmation email. Because customers, as much as you might dislike it, are going elsewhere to buy these services. I got one of the guys in the office to trawl some data for me on this because I was interested to see what the real numbers were. And I think I'm working with a pretty reasonable sample size. I've got over 1 million PNRs in the sample from 1 month for almost all the Amadeus airline websites. And I said, what was the average time between somebody booking a flight and their first date and their date of departure? Now, I want every person in this room, I'm not going to ask for show of hands or anything, but I want you to think, what do you believe is the average across all customers, leisure, business, whatever, what is the average amount of days between a person booking a flight and the first segment taken off? And then I want you to turn to the person next to you and exchange answers. Tell the person next to you what you think the answer is. Because when I asked this in the office, the numbers that people were giving me tended to be quite a bit lower than what I really saw from the data. Now, if you got within a couple of days of that, you're doing very, very well indeed. Obviously, there's a wide disparity in customers. It's only the average, but I think it's an interesting statistic to keep in mind. And then I went through with other types of services. I won't ask this question for everyone, but just think to yourself, hotels. Most people are booking a hotel very close to the actual flight. Logically, it makes sense. Once I've got the flight booked, I need somewhere to stay, so I book a hotel. Destination content. This is anything in the city that you're going to. So this could be airport transfers, it could be bus tours in the city you're going to, it could be river cruises, whatever. Even concert tickets. Now this number here, though, I advise you to take that with a grain of salt because I've got a very large sample size with the other numbers. This one here is only the data for one airline, and it's actually relatively small volumes. Okay, so this one, I think that I want to explore this number a bit further in a second. But rental car, clearly, if you are only selling rental cars on the confirmation page and the confirmation email to your customers, money is slipping through your fingers. Because the average customer is buying a rental car at a very different time to when they're buying the flight. The point I want to make about that destination content is that also refers to not the actual first flight segment departing, but the actual date of consumption of the product. Which for a person going on holiday, maybe they're booking a river cruise for the second week of their holiday. So that number is a little bit can't be directly compared with the others. I think, in my view, destination content, if it's properly marketed, the average on that should be even a week, maybe 7 days, but we really don't have a good feel for that at the moment. But the other ones are very, very interesting numbers to take into account. Let's look at a major European airline. Massively skewed data. Okay? Most people are buying, as we see here, 41% are buying 3 weeks or less prior to flying. But let's compare that data with the destination content that I was talking about in the previous slide. And as you can see, 65% are booked in the 3 weeks prior. And I actually think if this is, as I said, if this is marketed differently, in the 3 weeks prior, I expect 80 to 90% of sales for this product to be made. So once again, this is a real contrast between the customer buying the ticket and the customer buying this type of ancillary service. You really need to be able to time these offers and much data to any customers likely to buy in order to maximise revenues. Here I'm looking at a different airline. This is outside of Europe, a major non-European airline. And here I'm looking at domestic. So I'm just looking at their domestic traffic, and this is probably the most skewed chart that I see. Almost everybody buying domestic fares is buying them very close to departure. These charts, by the way, have 200 days of data. So the bar at the end represents people buying more than 200 days before the first flight segment departs. Let's compare, for this airline, domestic data against international sales and frequent flyer redemptions. So I think you see a very different type of consumer behaviour. There's nothing, I don't think, that's surprising to people in the room here who work with airlines. Clearly, international travel and redemption travel is a lot more people buying 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, more than 200 days in advance, okay? But the point about this is if you're treating all of these customers the same when it comes to selling their ancillary revenue, once again, you are so underutilising the potential here. The person who is buying a redemption ticket, we've got 29% of people for this airline buying more than 90 days in advance. That's almost a third of your customers, a third of the customers for this airline buying more than 3 months in advance. Now, if they're only seeing an offer for ancillary revenue on the confirmation page or the confirmation email, chances are they're not buying from your website. So get back to these touch points. Clearly getting people back into the servicing flow on the website is a good spend of money. You're taking costs out of the call centre, but also you're getting another chance for people to push product over the website. But I think I'm a member of a number of frequent flyer programs. And I can think of one airline that I won't name, but not that long ago I booked a ticket on their website. I think it was more than 3 months in advance of travel for a holiday. And I got the offers on the confirmation page, I got the confirmation email. I didn't buy anything extra from this airline besides the fare. But what I did get in the 3 months before travel was every single week I was getting an untargeted email from the frequent flyer department that had absolutely no relevance to me, that went straight into the bin, and if I wasn't working in this industry and actually interested in this stuff, just from an airline perspective, I would have unsubscribed a long time ago. This airline had so many opportunities to push product down my throat to get me to buy, and instead they absolutely wasted the opportunity by their frequent flyer department sending me ridiculous emails week after week with things. They knew when I was travelling, they knew where I was travelling, they knew who I was travelling with, and they knew how long I was going there for, and yet they did nothing to try and sell me anything based on those characteristics. It really isn't that difficult. Let's look at somebody who I think is doing it quite well. And this is, I think, for the European airlines in the room here, this should be quite concerning, the slide I'm going to show here, and you'll see why soon. Expedia are using targeted email to increase their ancillary revenue sales, and they say that the targeted emails are getting up to 30 times the conversion rates of non-targeted emails. But for the European airlines in the room, I want you to look at this very carefully in the next